fun.
Still trying, still trying.
Yeah, right.
Ozempic?
It's,
Yeah.
Okay, so I know last class, whoever was here or whoever listened online, and
Did you
that-
record it?
I thought I did. I didn't send it. I
Mhm.
recorded it. I guess I forgot to post it. It's been a busy, hectic.
Oh, I didn't put a thing on my car.
Anyway,
Is that okay?
hopefully it's okay. Yeah,
Hopefully.
Anyway, so we spoke about that story about the women who were on their way back from a convention and their flight was delayed because of some kind of snowstorm in Detroit, remember? And they called the rabbi and said, help, we're stuck in Detroit. And the rabbi says, you're never stuck.
Mhm.
So do you ever feel stuck, like stuck in one place, like you're not moving forward with your life? And how do you get out of that? How do you break free, or how would you like to, or how do you plan to?
Emuna.
Kira, do you feel stuck in your problems right
yeah,
now?
yeah.
Yes. So what do you
Well,
think?
I
Tell
think
us
I
about
just keep. What do I do?
Yeah.
Keep-
What do you do? What do you think you do?
You remember you have Emuna.
Kind of like working on it, keep working on it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Talk to people. People push me to move ahead. I go try to learn more, keep
It's
learning.
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make mistakes and I guess have to forgive myself.
Right.
Mhm.
It's I feel stuck a lot.
Okay. So how do you think is a good way to deal with it or get out of it, or do you see a way out?
I always sort of wait for some sort of sign or something, but I think that it's easy to get stuck in our comfort zones and not because of indecision, not really sure what the right move is. So kind of waiting for a sign or something, but sometimes it doesn't come and you have to just leap, I guess, but it's not easy.
Right. Right. That's interesting. Yeah. I have good thoughts. Okay.
Kind of gets
So this week's Parsha,
stuck in our ways, stuck in.
Yeah, but sometimes it's good, sometimes.
we're going to discuss this because the
Parsha
Jews were stuck in the desert for 40 years.
Oh.
What did they move forward? Did they grow?
Emuna.
Right? The Jews had to travel, right? They left Egypt and then they had to move literally, not just literally, they also had to move spiritually to the land of Israel. And so we're going to discuss this idea of moving forward, of being stuck, of, what it's all about. Okay. So we'll start with a story. Okay. There were in 1965 when the Iron Curtain was still very strongly in place. There was a professor, David Weiss, who he had a very interesting position in the Soviet Union, and because of it, he had access to Jewish communities where other people could not go. Like he had special access. Yeah.
Is he American or is he Russian?
I'm trying to figure that out.
David Weiss sounds like an American guy, like an American consulate type.
Right, it sounds like an American guy. I'm assuming he's an American guy. Anyway, David Weiss is like saying like John Doe.
I know John.
Exactly.
Anyway, no, I'm
Like
assuming he maybe he was like a professor in Soviet Union, but he was American, something like that. I don't know. Let's find out. Okay. So anyway, so he got very involved in the Jewish affairs in the Soviet Union. Who else was very interested in Jewish affairs in the Soviet Union? The Rebbe, the Lubavitcher Rebbe. So he ended up, meeting the Rebbe a lot and discussing it with him. And at this meeting, the professor was very moved by the Rebbe's wisdom and insight, and he was thinking about something, and he wasn't sure if he could ask this question. He felt a little uncomfortable asking the question, and he finally said, "Who could really call yourself a chassid? You're one of your chassidim. Can anyone call yourself a chassid, or do you have to have like certain criteria to be called a Chabad chassid, like a follower of the Rebbe?" And he said, "Listen, I don't look like a chassid. I don't have a beard. He doesn't wear the coat or the black hat or the white shirt or whatever it was. But I want to know, could I be called one of your chassidim?" And the Rebbe said, "It's very simple. If a person could look back at the end of the day and they felt that they'd taken one small step forward, from a Jewish or moral perspective, they could be called my chassid. They could be called my follower." And that is kind of like the, I guess, prototype of what a chassid is, or what the Rebbe's chassid is. Let the rest follow where it is.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
So let us look at. So so we're starting the new book of Devarim, the fifth book of the Torah, as Yvette mentioned, and it's Moshe's like last, not just will and testament, but last like rebuke, last talk with the Jewish people, like close up talk. Hey, you did this wrong, you did that wrong. This is how you should have done this. This is what you should do. And he gave the Jewish people a whole talk, lasted for over a month, and it's the whole book of Devarim. The whole last book of the Torah is all Moshe's talk. And telling them how to fix their past mistakes and how to be good in the future. And he began by telling them how they had this long journey, how they were stuck in the desert for so long because of their sins. Okay, so the parsha begins in text 1. Hi, Lana.
Hi, sorry.
Okay, text 1. We don't have Shelley, and it's a long one. Okay, got you up for it?
Sure.
I put on my glasses.
What page are we on?
Oh, page, I think
38.
38? 38.
38. These are the words that Moses spoke to all of Israel on the other side of the Jordan in the desert. In the plain opposite the Red Sea between Paran and Tophel and Laban and Hazerot and Dizahab. It is 11 days. It is an 11-day journey from Horeb by way of Mount Seir to Kadesh Barnea. Don't know where these places are. It came to pass in the 40th year, in the 11th month, or the first of the month, that Moses spoke to the children of Israel according to all that the Lord had commanded him regarding them. After he had smitten Sihon, king of the, of course you give me this one, king of the Amorites, who dwelt in Heshbon, and Og, king of the Bashan, who dwelt in Ashtaroth, in and Edrei. Maybe Cassandra should just take this one.
I don't know how to do it either.
On the other side of the Jordan in the land of Moab, Moses commenced and explained this law, saying, God spoke to us in Horeb, saying, you have dwelt long enough at this mountain. Turn and journey and come to the mountain of the Amorites, and to all its neighboring places in the plain, on the mountain, and in the lowland, and in the south, and by the seashore, the land of the Canaanites, and the Lebanon, until the great river, the Euphrates River. See,
Mhm.
I
From
have
that river. From that river to that sea.
See, I have set the land before you. Come and possess the land that the Lord swore, or is it the El Lord
Mhm.
swore to your forefathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, and to give them and their descendants after them.
Okay, so Moshe's kind of like rehashing all the places that they were, some of the big places from, when they left Egypt, different stops. The stops that he's mentioning are hints to like mistakes or sins that the Jewish people did in those stops. So it is, even if you're reading it in the Hebrew, it's a little bit confusing. It's really hard to understand, and only Rashi ends up explaining to us what each of these places are. So if you had a hard time reading it, don't worry. First of all, I don't know why they translate the English like so weird. They should just like leave it the Hebrew word and just
Never heard of these places.
translate it. But yeah.
Mm.
Anyway, yeah.
Where does it say their sins here?
So actually it doesn't. He's just hinting.
Like
He's saying,
well,
this place, and they know, and this place is where they had to sin with the slav, with the quail. Or in this place, and this is the place where they like date Dai Zahab. Zahab is really Dei Zahab. It's the golden place where they had enough gold because of the place where they did the golden calf. So it's only hints, and he doesn't spell out exactly what it was. But since they hear like the name of the place, they we know what happened there, right? That's like what happened in Vegas, right?
Amazing.
Exactly.
Whatever happens in Vegas, you bet.
Okay, so really, the journey from Israel to Egypt is not really long at all. And Hashem said, what was the whole point of leaving Egypt was go to the land of Israel. So he'd want them to get to the land quickly and conquer it. And this is what Rashi tells us. Text number 2, Carrie.
It is 11 days journey from Horeb, Moses said to them. See what you caused? There is no shorter route from Horeb to Kadesh Barnea than the way through Mount Seir, and even that is a journey of 11 days. But you traversed it in 3 days, and to such an extent did the Shekhinah exert itself to hasten your arrival to the land of Canaan. But because you sinned, he made you travel around Mount Seir for 40 years.
Oh boy, so here they were supposed to get there a quick trip, express train to Israel, and then they got stuck there for 40 years because they messed up. Okay, now it's interesting though, see the word, it says, but you have
Traverse.
where does it say? You okay, so sorry, text 1, it says you have dwelt long enough at this mountain. Like sounds like you were there, they were at Mount Sinai for, it said like long enough. It sounds like were you there too long? What does it mean you were there long enough at this mountain? Steve, if we look back in text 1, right? It says that somewhere, text 6, verse 6. Yeah, you have dwelt long enough at this mountain. Horeb is the hint for Mount Sinai. Okay. Text number 3. What does it mean that they have dwelt long enough at the mountain?
You have dwelt long enough at this mountain. This is to be interpreted according to its simple meaning.
So it's been too long. You were there
Yeah.
for too long. Now what
Yeah.
goes on? What else does Rashi tell us?
But there's also an Aggadite explanation. I have given you much greatness and reward for your having dwelt in the mountain. You made the Mishkan, the menorah, and the other future furnishings. You received the Torah. You appointed a Sanhedrin. You for yourselves, and captain over thousands and captains over hundreds.
Okay, so Rashi gives us 2 opposite explanations. The first
This is
explanation,
talking about Moshe.
Mount Sinai.
Talking to
Moshe is
Moshe.
talking to the Jewish people.
I see. Okay.
So it's 2 opposite things. On one hand, he's saying, oh, you were at that mountain too long. You hung around there too long.
Okay.
Okay. Then he says, but the Midrash says something else. The Midrash says, oh, you did so much at the mountain that I'm giving you a reward. What did they do? They built the Mishkan, right? They built the things for the Mishkan, the menorah. It specifically points out you got the Torah there. You appointed the Sanhedrin, like the head court. So, Eileen. So on one hand, it's saying, oh, you were there too long. And then on the other hand, saying, oh, you got so much reward because you did so much stuff. You accomplished so much at
But
the
you
stop
took a
of the
little
mountain.
too long.
So we don't know, right? So is it right? Or were they supposed to just head towards Israel straight away and just get there as quickly as possible? Were they just hanging around? Or was it that they did so much and they gained so much by being at Mount Sinai?
How long were they there, by the way? Question. Like years, months, days?
I think a year.
They were 1 year on the
I
mountain.
think so.
Okay.
But then they ended up in the desert for
Well, no, but I mean hanging around the mountain.
38 years, yeah.
38 years around the mountain?
No, 38 years in the desert.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
1 year around the mountain.
So a few interesting things. Number one is Rashi, the first explanation, he says, like its simple meaning, the Hebrew word kipshuto, like its simple meaning. Number 2, usually Rashi just keeps the basic explanation, doesn't go into the midrash. So why is he going into the midrash over here? What's important about it? And another thing is, why does he specifically mention the menorah out of all the items in the Mishkan? Why doesn't say everything in the Mishkan, or just say, and all the vessels? Like he says, all the furnishings. But then he says the menorah. Why does he have to specifically say the menorah? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what's interesting here is one of the words that is used is Rab Lachem. Okay, you dwelt there. Rab means a lot. Okay, Rab means a lot, but also can mean enough, like too much. Yeah, like enough. Okay, So we see the translation of Rav meaning like, oh, it's like too much already, like enough, in the story of Korach. Remember a few weeks ago we learned about Korach and his group of people who wanted to overthrow Moshe, right? They wanted to have all the
swallowed.
Yeah. So they are Moshe is complaining about Korach. He's trying to bite off too much. He's trying to get too much honor, too much things. Okay, and they use the same word. Rav is used. So text number 4. It's a really short event. You have your glasses.
Yeah, right. Oh,
That's
okay.
easy to read.
You take too much for yourselves.
One second. Let me just. Sorry, I didn't put it online.
You took by far too much greatness for yourself. I didn't know you could take too much greatness. I didn't know that was a concept. You can take too much greatness.
You don't think there's a concept of that?
Well, no, but greatness
honor.
Greatness is not, I'm talking not about being what do you call it? Braggart, not a braggart.
Not brag, but remember Korach, he wanted to get more honor.
Well,
but
what do you mean by the definition of greatness? I mean self-grand, but not self.
Well, the Hebrew word
attitude. I think greatness is not the right English word.
Gadola.
Okay, yeah, but it's
like
too much.
Big.
Pious.
No, pious is good. No, pious is a good word.
Greatness as in like too much of a big.
No, self-grandeur. It's called self-grandeur.
Self-grandeur.
Self-grandeur is better. Yeah, self-grandeur.
Okay, sure, no problem. Okay. So Rav might not just mean, oh, you were there a lot, but hey, it's enough already. Like, Nina, she say genug shine, like enough already. So if Rav means too much or enough, why is Moshe complaining that they were at Mount Sinai too long? Okay. So let's see what text. And it's a holy place, Mount Sinai. They did a lot of holy stuff there. So
you can have delusions of grandeur too.
Okay. So why would it say that they were there too long? Okay. Catherine, are you up to reading?
I'll read the next one. Sorry.
No problem. Lana, are you able to read?
I'm driving.
Okay, no problem.
I'll read.
Make you walk.
I'll read.
Go for it.
Okay, you have dwelt long enough at this mountain. Turn and journey. This is the first rebuke for the people despised the land and chose to settle permanently on the mountain instead of turning their attention to the land, which is the special place for fulfilling the mitzvot. Too much for you is similar to the phrase, too much for yourselves, children of Levi, which means is not enough that you are rebelling and going against the proper path. The truth is, settling permanently on this mountain is not right for you. Turn your face toward the land.
Okay, so they had a mission. They knew they had to leave Israel and leave Egypt and go to Israel. So that was their mission. That was their job. It was to move into the land. So they had to conquer it. They shouldn't if they had a job, they had a mission to go and conquer the Mount Sinai, they shouldn't be diddly-daddling even in a holy place like Mount Sinai. Okay, so that is what one opinion is.
Yeah,
that's what one opinion is. Yeah. Okay. Let us read now what the Rebbe says, text number 6. Like they're delaying the journey to get to the land of Israel. Let's see what the Rebbe says about it.
I can read this one.
Okay, thank you, Catherine.
Okay. Here, Moses wanted to explain to the Jewish people the progression of events, starting from their situation at the time of receiving the Torah up until their current situation on the other side of the Jordan. He emphasized that, in truth, the Jews should have entered the land of Israel shortly after being at Mount Sinai. It was only because of the sin of the spies that they were delayed in the desert for so long. Therefore, it must be pointed out that even back then, when the Jews were still at Mount Sinai, God told them that they should go straight to the land of Israel.
Continues. Go ahead.
Based on this, it's clear why the verse says, "You have dwelt long enough at this mountain." It emphasizes how strongly God wished for the Jewish people to immediately enter the land of Israel. Despite the great merits that came from their stay at Mount Sinai, gathering there too long without moving forward was too much. Interesting.
Right. But now, what's interesting is, that's the first explanation. They stayed there too long. But why is Rashi not satisfied? Because was it their choice how long to stay at Mount Sinai?
Obviously,
the cloud was around.
The cloud, right? The cloud would raise, and then they knew how they had traveled.
Oh, okay.
And
so
the cloud would stop,
their choice.
and then they knew when to stop. So exactly. So it's not
wasn't
their
choice. So
fault.
what does that mean?
Exactly.
That even though Hashem gives us the thing, we have to go above and beyond?
No, so let's find out. Let's see.
Okay.
So Rashi gives us a second explanation. Rav, a lot, meaning that Rav doesn't mean enough, like too much, bara means a lot, that it's a good thing. So how do we fit both explanations into one cohesive storyline, right? Was it too much that they stayed there, or did they gain a lot by being there? So Medrash is telling us how the Jewish people prepared spiritually to go into the land of Israel. Okay, they had a lot of important steps. So yes, you have a mission. Let's say I remember October 7th, right? Unfortunately, it was a really difficult time, and they said, okay, they were already soldiers. They all started to gather, right, at the borders and this and that, and they did training. They didn't just go into Gaza without a plan.
Sure.
They had 2 weeks, 3 weeks, however long it was, of tactical training and exactly what they're going to do, what the plan was, and each group, whatever they're called, battalion or whatever it is, was given their specific plan, and they had to work at that plan.
The Arabs?
No, Jews.
The
I
Jews,
mean,
the
idea.
idea.
The idea.
Oh, okay.
Idea.
Where were they? Where were they?
They were practicing.
No, when October 7th happened, everyone got the call, go to, meet up with your infantry group, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then they didn't just go into Gaza and just start doing something. They each had to do a practice. They had to figure out what they were doing. They had to do a plan, a mission.
Like you go this
So-
way, you're gonna go this way.
So the Jews are going into Israel. Their plan is they have to get to the land of Israel, but they have to have a certain preparation to go in there. They have to have a certain training, a certain spiritual
Cleansing.
not cleansing,
Well,
but certain
preparing.
spiritual preparation
Yeah.
to go in there. Okay. So this is why Rashi specifically mentions the menorah, because the menorah represents Hashem's dwelling, his Shekhinah in the world, in the Beis Hamikdash, in the Mishkan. Okay, so let us read text number 7. Back to Bakia.
Okay. Our rabbis taught about the Western lamp. It was a testimony to all the creatures on earth that the Shekinah rested upon Israel. For the high priest would place into it the same amount of oil he placed into the other lamps, and from it he would begin kindling, and with it he would finish the cleaning, since it continued to burn miraculously until the following evening.
So we discussed this before, how the most western lamp and the menorah, it always stayed lit. Okay? Even though there's the same amount of oil as the other ones, it always stayed lit. So this showed Hashem's presence in the world. There's something supernatural
I was gonna say
in the
something.
Mishkan.
So that I'm gonna say, when you go to the Arc de Triomphe, you see that in France. The only big thing you see the mating is
The menorah.
What is the Romans? They have it on a rolling thing, and the only thing they care about taking is the menorah. It's the only thing they care, because they know
They
it's,
don't have a picture of the ark on there too?
Nope.
No? Okay,
No,
just
it's just the menorah.
Okay.
And it's sitting in the Vatican.
Yeah, somewhere.
Right.
The
Right.
menorah is the
Joseph's
example,
grandfather.
That's of the second. That's of the right, the
Yes.
second Beis Hamikdash? I don't know. Okay, anyway, the menorah is example.
Oh, yeah, second one.
Yeah.
Second one. Not
Second
70.
one,
Yeah.
yeah.
But that's the only thing the Romans actually cared about
Right,
taking.
right.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and they took
Interesting
it.
thought.
And they took
It's in Rome.
Yeah, it's in
Yeah.
the basement.
So the menorah is an example of
Mount
what
Sinai.
we were doing at Mount Sinai. What were we doing at Mount Sinai? We're bringing the Shekhinah down into the world,
Right.
And so that's why the menorah was specifically mentioned, because that kind of is like a proof in the world that the Shekhinah is here. Okay, so we were being founded at that time as a nation. We were being like cemented in as a nation, as Hashem's special nation, not just any nation. We were being like founded as a special nation, and so we had to be there at Sinai. We had to feel and understand and gain there to become Hashem's ambassadors in the world. And only once we solidified our identity as Hashem's ambassadors, the Jewish people as a special nation, then could we go and enter the land, and then we could have effect on the land and the whole world. Then we could like properly dwell in the land.
So that's not to digress again, but that is exactly why the Romans took, because they wanted to be the people who from that Hashem. They said Hashem like us more. That was the whole concept of kidnapping it. So they thought they could be the
Sure, but they're
people.
not.
God, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And that's when they invent the Vatican and all the Pope stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So on one hand,
That's
we need to
awful.
get to the land of Israel as soon as possible.
Mhm.
On the other hand, we have to be developed enough. We have to be mature enough in a
Mhm.
spiritual sense and as a nation to be able to do that properly. Okay, so they have to be trained, or whatever you want to call it, prepared enough that they can do that. So there's a very important message here tying into the question that we asked at the beginning of the class. So Rashi doesn't say that at the mountain that don't sit to sorry, he doesn't say when he quotes the pasuk the words of the pasuk, the words of the verse, it says you were dwelt there too long. He doesn't add the words at the mountain, even though the pasuk has the words at the mountain. Because the idea is you shouldn't sit too long anywhere.
Oh,
Not in a physical sense, but in a
in a mental sense.
in a mental, spiritual, moving sense. So a Jew always has to move forward. It says a Jew. It says a Jew is a machalach. The person is the one always moving.
So don't stagnate.
Angels don't be stagnant. Exactly, exactly. So we always have to make progress in our spiritual journey. Text number 8. You just read.
I just read.
A Jew must understand that a state of staying in one place, remaining on the same level and serving Hashem, and not progressing or striving higher, is enough for you in its simplest meaning, too much. No matter how good and high one's level of service may be, staying in that same place for too long is giving up too much time. A person must be on a journey, constantly striving and moving higher, ascending in holiness.
Okay, so let's say you have someone who is about tshuva and they're becoming religious and they're like so inspired and they're so excited, and then like after a few months or after whatever the time frame is, right? They kind of like life becomes normal again, and they're still doing the things, but they don't feel that spiritual wow anymore, right? That high. And so but they still always have to be moving forward. Otherwise, okay. And the same thing with someone who was born into a totally religious family, born, with learning to do all the mitzvahs and doing everything. They too, even though they think, oh wow, they know everything, they're doing everything. No, they also have to be constantly working on themselves to make sure that they're going from level to level, right? And we cannot be stagnant, even more so is, let's see, text number 9.
Are you talking about just spiritually or also physically moving or just spiritually?
From a Jewish sense, from a sense of adding in more mitzvahs, adding in more connection to God.
It's actually more. Well, I think we should. Well, because we know the second temple, we're not nice to each other. We should work on that point to get the third temple.
Yeah, all those things.
Being nice to each other. So yeah, the third temple.
That's part of it. That's part of it. It's about any mitzvah,
be
any
nice to each other. Just kind of let go of things.
Yeah, I gotta do that.
Right. Okay. So let's read text number 9. Sandra.
I gotta do
Let
that.
go of things.
Yeah. Rabbi Chaya Bar Ashai said that Rav said Torah scholars have rest neither in this world nor in the world to come, as in both worlds. They are constantly progressing, as it is stated. They go from strength to strength. Every one of them appears before God in Zion.
Okay, so even a Torah scholar, they can't. They know so much. They did that. They're fine.
They can't rest.
They never rest. So in this world, because they're trying to learn Torah and learn more and gain more and become a better person. And the next one, right? What do we do in heaven? We're learning Torah all day. So they're still keep going and going and going. Okay. So text number 11, the Maharal says
10. No, 10.
Sorry.
10.
I like 10. 10 is wonderful. You want me to read it?
Yeah, read it, please.
Okay.
The Talmud doesn't mean to say that Torah scholars have no rest. Obviously, they do. What it means is that the level of Torah scholars is never fully complete. The intellect does not reach a state of perfection because there is no end or limit to understanding. Once a person grasps one thing, it's always possible to understand more, and therefore the intellect never reaches completion.
Okay, so no such thing as I know everything, right? No one knows everything.
Nobody.
Okay. Now text number 11.
I'm going to wait for 13.
Because it's
so
second.
For 3 lines.
Lucky number
1 second,
13.
guys. True completeness requires a constant movement and inspiration to reach greater heights. Okay. So let's say, Eileen, can you read again?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. A person was created to work, not to rest. They're meant to manifest their potential always, without ever stopping. This is the natural order of creation. Everything was created to be whole, not lacking. A person can't reach the sense of wholeness unless they're fully engaged and active. This is the completeness. This is what true completeness looks like. always in motion, constantly bringing potential into action. It's like the sky, which is always moving and never comes to rest. It can't exist without movement. The movement itself is what makes it complete. And so a person wasn't created to rest or to be fully complete from the beginning. They can't reach the end of their work in a state of rest and perfection. Their completeness comes from always striving, constantly bringing their potential into reality.
Okay, and your book says, text number 12, just got you back to you.
What about Catherine?
I'll say Catherine because she's half working.
Okay.
Unless Catherine wants to.
Her
Pleasures connected to everything according to its nature. The competence of active powers is.
Completely.
Sorry, my button was muted. I was going to read, but I'll read the next one. Sorry.
You can read 12.
Okay, sorry. I thought I was talking, but I'm like, wait, they don't hear me. Pleasure is connected to everything according to its nature. The completeness of active powers is that nothing can prevent or block them from carrying out their function. Resting from action goes against their nature and purpose. For Torah scholars who are influenced by their own strength and stand ready to influence and guide others, this is the essential nature of their souls, to be active. Therefore, their pleasure and fulfillment come only from constant and ongoing action. That's why the ultimate enjoyment for them is in continuous movement and action that never stops. They go from strength to strength. Interesting.
Stay still, you're actually regressing and going backwards, okay? Like kind of like exercise or training, right? You could do some type of form of coach exercising, whatever it is, running, preparing for a marathon or just doing some type of, weight. But once you stop, you don't do it for a while, you lose it, right?
Is this book for men, not for women?
I hope it's more for men.
It's a man book.
We have a lot on our plate. We can't do everything.
It's technically it's made for both, but it's made by
And for the mothers of those boys.
The people are the men one, but
But
that's why the Rapport Society is made specifically for women by women. Okay.
And
Text
women
number.
that are raising boys.
Yeah.
Okay, but it sounds like for adult men. This sounds like for
Oh,
adults.
okay.
Young boys girls.
Yeah,
Okay.
less than the men in your lives. Okay.
Exactly.
Text number 13. You've got one to read that
Yeah,
one.
sure. A person is called a quote mover because they must always move from one level to the next. If they don't keep rising, they will fall. Heaven forbid, because it's impossible to stay on one level forever. Well, because I know people who've sunk. I know people who went down.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Awesome.
but I know it's like John, but
This is another one. 14A. Go ahead. Back to back. Yeah.
Okay. Let me get my
I'll read
glasses
if you
again.
want. You want me to read?
Okay. I
What?
think there's more than 4-letter words.
What?
That's not what I'm talking about.
I need
Okay,
A
I know what you
person
mean.
is called mover, as the verse says, and I have given you a mover among those who stand. It also says the path of life is upward for the wise, to turn away from the grave below. Standing still is not for a person, like the angels who are called standers, because whenever a person innovates something new in the truth of the Torah, they rise higher, as the verse says. From one day to the next, he utters speech. But if, heaven forbid, he or she turns away from this, they fall. That's why it says to turn away from the grave below. Because if they don't rise, they naturally fall. This is why a person is called a mover and a shaker. This we can explain what Rabbi Yossi says in the Talmud. I have never spoken a word and then gone back on it. When Hashem grants a person the ability to rise through the levels of Torah and to innovate in it, they must be very careful not to turn back.
Right.
The movers and the shakers wasn't a little.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah, but also sometimes you see like somebody who's been working at a certain position for many years and like he gets like they tell him it's time to retire, they tell him it's time to resign. As soon as he retires, like you see all of a sudden his physical regresses because all of a sudden he doesn't have that drive.
He has no purpose.
Right. He hasn't developed a new purpose. You have to develop a new purpose. That's the problem.
Okay, that's a smart idea. Yeah. Okay, back to Carrie.
Okay. A righteous person is called a mover while an angel is called a stander, as it says, and I have given you walks among those who stand.
Okay.
Zechariah. The reason for this is that a person moves from one level to the next, as our sages say. As scholars grow older, their understanding becomes more settled, but angels stand on the same level forever.
Wow. That's what we have to do so many mitzvot here,
Yes.
because up there we can't do any mitzvot.
Right.
Wow.
So many times, like,
Wow.
you work at something, you get something like, wow, look where I've gotten. Oh, I'm doing this, or I'm doing that. Look how, look where I am. You feel good about it, and you like be comfortable, like you say, you become
Right.
complacent about where you are in life, and um, and you think, okay, that's good. But no, once you stop challenging yourself, the second you stop working hard at something to try something higher and newer, that's when you start to fall.
Yeah, digress.
You have to always be, never be too comfortable for too long. Always have to push yourself just a little bit more, just a little bit more, just a little
That
bit more.
probably is the reason why you get depressed. So I get depressed. Yeah, because I'm not
So
pushing myself.
you might feel, okay, I got this special spiritual moment, or I prayed, God answered me, and that's good.
Every day.
But then you stop praying because God answered you and life is good.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
But no, you have to keep on going.
Yeah.
So you
Sometimes
have to
it's
always.
really hard
Oh,
if
yes.
you don't have a community or
But there's no excuses. There
I
are
know.
like things that make it harder or
but
easier.
just to be thankful. Hashem, thank you for restoring my soul, my feet, my hands, my
Right.
legs, my brain, oh my God. People can't get out of bed,
Right.
some people.
Sometimes someone's in a really
So
bad
sad.
situation and they're like in an
Yeah.
unhealthy
We
relationship.
forget.
Right.
We
Sometimes
take
someone's in
it for granted.
an unhealthy relationship, they're in a difficult situation,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, I have to get out of this, I have to get out of this, I have to get out of this. It's not good,
They
it's not
don't.
healthy. And then, oh, just let me see when the right time is. Let me see when where's the opportunity. But there is no right time or good
No.
opportunity to do
Right.
it. The time is now. And they're stuck at the same idea.
But God gives us a nudge.
Yeah.
He gives us a nudge.
So the key to success, according to the Torah, is to always be reaching towards the next ladder, no matter even small. They show you those ladders, and they show you like teeny little baby steps.
Yeah.
Those ladders
Yeah.
are much harder. That teeny little baby step. Because we try to go from this level to this level. Like,
Yeah, you can't.
You can't.
Yeah.
Exactly.
God bless Rabbi Schwartz. He says, eat an elephant one bite at a time. If you're trying to take the whole thing, you're going to regurgitate.
Right.
You can't do
You see
Judaism.
and eat.
No, that's just an expression.
I know.
You know.
I just
Open the
saw
eye
one
of an
eat
needle and
lots of
Hashem will help you
bananas.
put an elephant.